So I want you to imagine for a second that you wake up tomorrow morning and every single earthly worry you have is just, well, simply gone.
Oh, wow. Like, completely gone.
Completely. The mortgage is paid forever. The grocery pantry magically replenishes itself, and you just never have to stress about the physical realities of, aging, illness, or even isolation.
Right. So it's this total emancipation from the daily grind of human survival. I
Mhm.
mean, it is the ultimate utopian fantasy, really. It addresses the absolute bedrock of our existential anxieties.
Yeah, exactly. But the fantasy and the material we're looking at today goes, even further than just paying your bills.
Hard to imagine what's better than free groceries, but go on.
Right. But imagine that alongside this perfectly frictionless physical life, your spiritual enlightenment is suddenly put on a hyper-efficient fast track.
Okay.
So no more meditating in a cave for decades to achieve inner peace. Instead, you're handed this literal, guaranteed cosmic visa, like a golden ticket that grants you immediate access to an eternal paradise once your time on Earth is done.
Wow. So it's a fully integrated package for both the material present and, like, the eternal future.
Yeah, exactly.
Because when a philosophy claims to solve every fundamental human anxiety at once, financial, social, and spiritual, it becomes a remarkably potent psychological force.
Which brings us to the core of today's deep dive.
Hmm.
We are exploring this really fascinating document from 2008. It's authored by a figure named Xu Feng, and it's titled Enjoys 8 Happy Fortunes of Chenyuan
Oh,
Celestials.
I had a title.
It really is. And our mission today is to analyze this text to understand the incredibly intricate, multi-layered belief system of a group known as Lifechanyuan. We're going to examine exactly how this document promises to solve your ultimate search for purpose, for community, and for a guaranteed afterlife.
And, before we delve into the architecture of this belief system, it's really crucial to establish a framework for you, the listener,
Definitely.
because we are examining Xu Feng's text today purely as a highly detailed piece of source material. We're looking at it strictly through a sociological and philosophical lens.
Right, just looking at the ideas.
Exactly. We are not endorsing these beliefs, nor are we validating any of the supernatural claims made within the text. Our goal is to impartially analyze the structure of these ideas, just to understand the underlying human conditions they attempt to address.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because to really grasp how a Chanuan celestial, which is the term used for followers of this system,
Right.
how they approach their day-to-day existence, we actually have to start at the end. We have to understand the ultimate cosmic destination that this text outlines.
Because otherwise, the daily practices just lack context.
Exactly.
The destination dictates the journey. You really have to understand the cartography of the afterlife this text proposes.
And a huge part of that cartography involves the relationship with the greatest creator. The text promises that by, forging this connection, followers escape the endless, grueling trap of transmigration.
Which is essentially the karmic cycle of reincarnation in the lower, suffering-filled levels of space.
Right. But the most striking element here is this deliberate, almost typographical distinction the text makes regarding existence itself. It creates this hard boundary between the word life, spelled with a lowercase l, and the word life, spelled in all uppercase letters.
Yeah, that simple capitalization shift is actually doing an immense amount of philosophical heavy lifting.
It really is.
It splits human experience into two entirely distinct operational theaters.
So, lowercase life is strictly defined as your current physical, mortal existence here on Earth. And the primary directive of lowercase life is actually quite pleasant.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's about finding joy, happiness, freedom, and blessing in the present moment.
Okay, that sounds nice.
Right. But then uppercase life, on the other hand, refers to the eternal cosmic journey of your non-material soul. And Xu Feng's text lays out a highly specific, tiered roadmap for this uppercase life.
A roadmap for the soul.
Exactly. The ultimate trajectory moves through distinct celestial realms. So first, your soul graduates to the 1,000-year world. From there, you ascend to the 10,000-year world. And then finally, the absolute pinnacle of this journey is reaching the celestial island continent of Elysium world.
And the text describes that final destination in incredibly evocative terms. It actually refers to it as the greatest creator's back garden.
The Bat Garden.
Right, and it is positioned as the freest, most marvelous, and most unconstrained place in the entire universe.
It's like the ultimate VIP section of the cosmos. And reading through this progression from 1,000 year to 10,000 year to Elysium, it feels remarkably similar to like a massive cosmic video game.
Oh, that's a great way to look at it.
Right. Your lowercase life is just the current level you're playing. You're navigating obstacles, trying to find joy, maybe collecting a few coins along the way.
Try not to lose all your hearts.
Exactly. But your uppercase life is your overarching player profile.
Ah, I see.
Yeah, that profile is what actually levels up across different cosmic servers, continually upgrading until you finally unlock that exclusive developer's sandbox at the absolute end of the game.
What's fascinating here is the profound psychological comfort that this specific tiered structure provides. I mean, the single greatest source of existential dread for human beings is ambiguity.
Oh, totally. The black box of death.
Right. Is it nothingness? Is it a harsh judgment? Is it just an endless, exhausting cycle of rebirth? That unknown void generates massive subconscious anxiety in the human psyche.
It's the one variable we just can't control or predict.
Precisely. And Surfing's text removes that ambiguity entirely. It doesn't offer a vague promise of, like, heaven. It provides a highly specific, mapped-out cartography of eternity.
It hands believers a concrete ladder to climb.
Yes. By defining the 1,000-year and 10,000-year worlds, it transforms the terrifying, shapeless unknown of death into a highly structured, almost bureaucratic itinerary.
Bureaucratic, yeah, that's the perfect word for it.
It gives people a profound sense of agency and control over the most uncontrollable aspect of the human condition.
But getting a spot on that structured itinerary, particularly, access to the greatest creator's back garden, sounds like an incredibly exclusive proposition.
It's not easy to get into the VIP section.
Exactly. Which logically leads to the question of admission. If we know the destination, how does a Chanyuan celestial actually secure a ticket?
And this is where the text introduces its highly unusual approach to religious synthesis. It's effectively attempting to hack the traditional barriers of theological dogma.
Yeah, the text explicitly states that its teachings rely on 4 specific historical masters: Jesus Christ, Buddha Shakyamuni, Celestial Lao Tzu, and the Prophet Muhammad.
4 massive pillars of world religion.
Right. And it introduces the concept of a special guide who supposedly organically integrates all of their teachings to reveal the deep mysteries of time, space, and uppercase life.
Okay.
And because of this ultimate integration, followers are granted literal visas of life.
Visas, like a passport stamp.
Literally. The text claims that upon leaving the human world, the gates to these heavenly kingdoms are automatically open to them. No waiting in cosmic customs, no final terrifying judgment, just a stamped visa for immediate entry.
The terminology of a visa is so interesting because it implies a modern administrative certainty.
Right.
Like if you have the correct paperwork, the border guards of the afterlife have to let you in. It completely neutralizes the fear of divine rejection.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though, because I have to push back hard on this premise of organically integrating those 4 specific figures.
Definitely.
I mean, Jesus, Buddha, Lao Tzu, and Muhammad operate on fundamentally different, often mutually exclusive theological operating systems.
They absolutely do.
Yeah.
You are talking about bridging massive philosophical chasms here.
Right, because Jesus is preaching salvation through a personal, monotheistic God. Buddha's teachings are largely non-theistic, focusing heavily on, the dissolution of the ego and escaping suffering.
Very different goals.
And then Lao Tzu is entirely focused on flowing with the Tao, the natural order of the universe, which isn't a personified deity at all. And Muhammad demands strict, uncompromising submission to one singular, indivisible God.
Right.
These aren't just different flavors of the same belief, they're entirely different definitions of reality.
Absolutely.
So how does a special guide actually integrate the dissolution of the self with strict monotheistic submission without creating a massive theological train wreck?
That is the ultimate logical friction point, isn't it? But the brilliance of the text, from a sociological perspective, is how it completely bypasses that friction.
Wait, it just ignores it.
Pretty much. It doesn't actually explain how the integration works. It doesn't offer like a dense 500-page theological treatise attempting to resolve the fundamental differences between the Tao and Islamic monotheism.
Oh, wow.
It simply asserts, as a matter of unquestionable fact, that the special guide is uniquely capable of doing it.
So it just outsources the cognitive dissonance entirely.
It really does. And we have to look at why that resonates so powerfully in the modern spiritual landscape.
Because it sounds crazy on the surface.
It does, but we live in a hyper-globalized, information-rich world. where people are constantly exposed to all these different traditions, there is a deep modern craving for a unified theory of everything.
People want the greatest hits.
Exactly. They look at world religions and they want the unconditional love of Jesus, the centered mindfulness of Buddha, the natural harmony of Lao Tzu, and the unwavering devotion of Muhammad.
But they do not want the burden of dealing with the messy, mutually exclusive dogmas that separate them.
Right. So by claiming an exclusive ability to harmonize these titans of faith, Lifechanyuan positions its path as the ultimate, final evolution of human spirituality. It tells the seeker, you don't have to choose and you don't have to stress about the contradictions. The puzzles has already been solved for you.
It's the ultimate spiritual life hack. But, even if you have a perfectly unified masterclass in global theology, the historical reality is that spiritual enlightenment is a grueling marathon.
Oh, incredibly grueling.
Monks meditate in absolute silence for decades. Eastern traditions speak of enduring hundreds or thousands of lifetimes to slowly burn off bad karma and refine the soul.
Right. The traditional path is entirely defined by its difficulty. Endurance, suffering, and slow refinement are the historical hallmarks of the spiritual quest. The friction is supposed to be the fire that purifies the soul.
But Xufeng's text completely upends that timeline. It explicitly claims that this specific path offers the most advanced way of self-refinery in the shortest time.
The shortest time.
Yeah. And the core mechanism for this rapid acceleration is a practice called unconditional giving to help initiate what they call the Lifechanyuan era.
Okay, so it's tied to an earthly mission.
Exactly. By participating in this collective mission, followers supposedly accumulate massive spiritual merits. The claim is that they can rapidly pay back generational debts, clear their accumulated sins, and perfectly construct the, quote, non-material structure of their life, completely skipping a process that the text admits would normally take hundreds or thousands of lifetimes.
It introduces a highly transactional, accelerated mechanism for salvation.
It's like buying a VIP fast pass at a spiritual theme park.
Right.
You just walk right past a line of suffering monks that stretches back 1,000 lifetimes, flash your unconditionally given merits, and walk straight onto the Elysium ride.
Just skip the line.
Yeah. But doesn't intentionally skipping that long, arduous path inherently cheapen the spiritual journey? I mean, think about climbing a mountain, right, like Everest.
Okay.
If you take a luxury helicopter to the summit of Everest, you didn't actually climb Everest. The struggle, the frostbite, the slow building of physical and mental endurance that is the climb.
Without the struggle, the enlightenment is essentially unearned. This raises an important question about how ancient spiritual goals collide with modern psychological values, because you're arguing from a traditional standpoint where the struggle itself generates the meaning.
Yeah, I guess I am.
But this text is directly targeting a highly pervasive, very modern human anxiety, the fear of wasted time.
Ah, FOMO, but applied to the eternal timeline of your soul.
Exactly. We exist in a culture that is utterly obsessed with optimization, efficiency, and productivity metrics. We're constantly searching for the fastest way to lose weight, the most efficient way to learn a language, the quickest hack to build wealth.
And this just applies that exact same aggressive optimization mindset to metaphysics.
Right. By promising perfectly efficient enlightenment, it directly speaks to the modern anxiety about whether our efforts are actually working. It assures followers that their spiritual labor is yielding maximum cosmic ROI, return on investment.
Wow, cosmic ROI.
Yeah, it removes that lingering doubt of, am I meditating correctly? Am I wasting my life? By confidently declaring, we possess the most advanced, fastest technology for your soul.
Spiritual optimization for the modern age. It completely removes the guesswork. But let's bring this soaring cosmic discussion firmly back down to Earth for a minute.
Sure.
Because up to this point, the promises we've unpacked have focused heavily on the afterlife, the non-material soul, and hacking the timeline of eternity.
The uppercase life.
Exactly. But what about the physical reality of a random Tuesday morning? Because this text doesn't just promise you a magnificent existence after you die, it demands and promises a radical transformation of how you live your physical, lowercase life right now.
And that earthly component isn't an afterthought. It's really the vital foundational engine that makes the cosmic promises feel achievable to the followers.
We see this clearly when the text redefines the concept of earthly wealth. It's not about accumulating gold or stock portfolios. Wealth is explicitly defined as having sangin, which means close, special, highly supportive friends who share your exact energetic resonance.
Having your people.
Exactly. The text promises that through this community, you will never be lonely and will always have a safety net or a way out of trouble. And this culminates in the physical manifestation of the belief system, a highly structured commune known as the second home or the new oasis for life.
It's an attempt to construct a literal physical utopia to house this optimized spiritual journey.
And the claims regarding the second home are incredibly sweeping. The text states that this physical commune relieves all worries regarding food, clothing, shelter, transportation, old age, and even death.
It essentially guarantees a life lived in a fairyland.
Yeah. Furthermore, it claims that because of the concentrated collective energy field generated by all these resonant individuals living together, members can rapidly reach level 4 and 5 meditation without the risk of going crazy, or as the text phrases it, without overreaching themselves.
So the collective environment acts as a spiritual safety harness.
Exactly. And, as if free rent, perfect community, and accelerated risk-free meditation weren't enough.
There's more.
There's more. The text claims that members can achieve 64 theurgies, which are fundamentally supernatural powers.
Wow. The ability to invoke the powers of gods, directly bending the natural world or human perception?
It's wild to read. I mean, the second home sounds less like a traditional monastery and more like a hybrid between an all-inclusive luxury tropical resort where you never have to pull out a credit card
Right.
and an elite superhero academy, like the X-Men Mansion, where you are actively learning to unlock 64 distinct superpowers.
That's quite the pitch.
It is. And the text makes a very pointed effort to highlight that 98% of humanity does not have access to these fortunes. So the exclusivity is a major selling point.
If we connect this to the bigger picture of human psychology, what we're really observing here is a manufactured, artificial resolution to Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Oh, it's effectively hacking the pyramid.
Yes.
If you can completely automate the bottom tiers of survival, like food, shelter, safety, you theoretically free up 100% of your mental and spiritual bandwidth to focus on self-actualization at the very top.
That is the exact underlying logic. Abraham Maslow argued that if an individual is constantly worried about paying their rent or where their next meal is coming from,
Or if they're suffering from profound social isolation and loneliness.
exactly, their brain simply does not have the capacity to deeply engage with high-level spiritual concepts. Survival mode completely hijacks our cognitive resources.
So true.
So the text promise of the second home, alongside the concept of resonant friends ensuring you're never lonely, is designed to permanently secure those physiological, safety, and belongingness needs.
It artificially removes every single friction point that causes human anxiety.
Yes, by claiming to completely eliminate the stress of survival, aging, and interpersonal conflict, it proposes a sealed environment, a greenhouse for the soul, if you will.
I like that. A greenhouse for the soul.
Right, because in this manufactured utopia, the follower's energy isn't bled dry by the mundane tasks of existing in a capitalist society. Instead, all that conserved energy can be channeled entirely into achieving high-level meditation, unlocking those 64 theurgies and perfecting their non-material life structure for the cosmic journey ahead.
So what does this all mean? When you pull back and look at Feng's 2008 document in its entirety, it's offering a breathtakingly ambitious, all-encompassing package designed to neutralize the human condition.
It really is.
It promises a stamped VIP visa to the universe's ultimate back garden, entirely removing the primal fear of death and the unknown. It offers a perfectly efficient, optimized spiritual fast track that seamlessly integrates the greatest hits of the world's major religions, completely removing the modern fear of wasted time and wasted effort. And it outlines a physical, earthly commune that eliminates all human loneliness, financial stress, and physical worry, removing the exhaustive daily friction of survival. It's a meticulously crafted blueprint for an entirely frictionless existence.
It is a masterful piece of structural design. However, it leaves us with a profound, lingering paradox to consider.
What's that?
Well, the text promises this second home a literal fairyland that entirely eliminates the worries of food, shelter, aging, and earthly struggle. But if a community could genuinely guarantee a life completely free of all basic human uncertainties and friction, would we actually achieve higher enlightenment?
Oh, that's a good question.
Or, without the friction, the physical challenges, the heartbreak, and the deep vulnerabilities that force us to adapt and grow, would we simply lose the very struggles that make us fundamentally human?
Wow. A frictionless existence might just polish away the very textures that give a human life its meaning. That is, a lot to think about. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the fascinating architecture of Lifechanyuan. Keep questioning, keep exploring.